Hello, welcome to the much delayed ninth episode of So Long Too Long. You might be able to tell by the quality of this recording that we're not in the studio today, as we're trying to balance real jobs and other things alongside fitting around the studio. So we did this over Zoom. So there might be some dip in sound quality compared to the other episodes, but we still think it's a cracker. Anyway, enjoy.
This is So Long Too Long, a true-to-life recounting of a band that, despite their very best efforts, seemed destined to break into the big time if they could only overcome one hurdle, themselves. If they weren't quite four lads who shook the world, they certainly gave their postcodes a tremble.
So hello, welcome to the long-awaited episode 9 of So Long Too Long. We are not in the studio today because we're trying to juggle studio time and other issues. Steve's in the Middle East and the clocks have gone back and all sorts. So we're doing this via Zoom. If you can hear any difference in sound quality, that is why. So first and foremost, hello. Thanks for your patience. There was a bit of a delay in getting this out. And our last two episodes seem to have gone down well. We've had lots of correspondence from people, and we've had people actually buying Albany merch, which is a first. 20 years later, people have bought our So Long Too Long and the Albany t-shirts, haven't they?
People are loving it. I reckon it's fucking wild that people are like even buying it. But yeah, we're getting there, aren't we? 20 years down the line, is right.
It's a good time, but yeah.
Yeah,
But
my
if
dad
you-
bought a bucket hat.
So it's on all our socials and the Patreon. If you want to explore that, there's a range of designs. You can choose your own colour. There's 2 So Long Too Long designs and 2 the Albany designs. But the thing that seems to have gone down the most is episode, I think it was episode 7 when we spoke about our first ever gig. The amount of people who were there or certainly remember the other bands or remember seeing us, it's kind of brought a lot of people out the woodwork, and it's jogged a lot of people's memories. So we've had a lot of people saying they remember Jamestown. We've had a lot of people saying they remember actually that gig itself, which is wild. So we've had lots of correspondence on that front, haven't we?
I recall fired that episode, and it took us right back, even though we spoke about it. But I can't believe that people remembered it. Like, obviously, they didn't see what happened backstage, but we brought all that to light.
We did. I think the best one we got was someone on Instagram contacted us and said, "Oh, I remember yous. We used a band who had a tree stump on stage, or am I getting mixed up with somebody else?" Oh no, that was us. That was us. We haven't
Still
spoken
got it.
about that. We still got it. We still got it. So we haven't spoken about that. I think we will in a future episode. So that's a bit of a teaser about what we're going to talk about at some point. But yeah, if you saw the band with no bassist, a chicken suit, and a tree stump on stage, that was us. That was us. So yeah. But thanks for everyone who's got in touch. We've had brilliant feedback, and we've also had lots of feedback on the bonus episodes we've done, particularly the Deal or No Deal watch along episode. The thrill of that has seemed to have caught people. I've had at least 4 people message me saying, "What a wild episode!" and wasn't Geordie a wanker?
I can't believe it's coming back. Cannot believe it. I did a bit of digging after recording that Geordie one. And Mr. Mulhern, Stephen Mulhern's bringing it back. I think it's coming back this year, to be honest.
This year, God, I said to you, he gets places water can't, Stephen Mulwell. So yeah, Deal or No Deal's coming back. So who knows? We might have another watch on there. Yeah, but just to go one last time on the plug, if you want to watch the bonus episode where we do a director's cut style watch along of the Deal or No Deal episode, and we've got other bonus bits. You go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Club Shipwreck, and you can sign up for as little as £2 a month, which it's nothing really. So, and all being well, you get all other episodes at least a week early. So that's that. So that's all our correspondence and all our thank yous and all our plugging. So without further ado, let's move into episode 9 of So Long Too Long.
As I've outlined in recent episodes, by the tail end of 2005, the Albany were making, if not waves, then light ripples in the puddle of their corner of Liverpool, and snapped strings and brushes with the Lord aside, not to mention the continued absence of a bass player, things felt like they were going well. Although we defiantly plumped ourselves on the outskirts of any scene and willfully shunned any sort of camaraderie with other bands, we did end up playing a charity gig at a school in South Liverpool alongside other acts who at that time were making actual inroads, and we saw the benefit in beginning to make connections. Now, connections and networking were dirty words in our world, but it was undeniable that bands like the Aeroplanes and Cup were establishing themselves as the hottest tickets in town. They didn't have funny MySpace pages or any deal or no deal chat, so we were never going to be brothers in arms, but all the same, we knew that in order to kick on, we had to see how things really worked and to do what these bands were doing. Once we were there, we were keen to squeeze all we could from the shoulder rubbing that we were doing. And eventually, one of us managed to get details of a new recording studio that was set up in town, and the next step for us there was a no-brainer. We were going to record our first songs, properly, without a dictaphone in sight. But we were also keen to make other connections too. The school we were playing at was St. Julie's, an all-girls school that has produced alumni as illustrious as Jodie Comer, which meant that a disproportionate amount of the audience was female, a situation we were resolutely not used to. I naturally floundered in this arena, no doubt falling in love every time I spoke to a girl before inevitably chucking away any progress by bringing up Lars or Bob Marley. However, Steve made considerable progress with a girl who was a friend of a friend of a friend type of thing. Now, it must be stressed that at this time, considerable progress likely amounted to just getting through a conversation without cocking it up, but this was progress all the same. Although Steve was so overwhelmed by this achievement and subsequently forgot the girl's name, he ended up with her phone number, and trust me when I stress that this was something to be celebrated. Brave new worlds indeed.
So the Albany let loose in an all-girls school. It sounds like a dodgy carry-on film or something. But
Obviously, we're in dangers.
No, Christ, no.
Well, the Jimmy Savile experience, with our past record.
That's a very valid point.
Straight in the girls' school.
Oh,
I remember before we went, stopping off in the Oxfam and getting a Trilby hat, remember?
Well, someone else had to have one, didn't he?
Yeah.
The Trilby hat, it did. Is that how you... Yeah, is that what did the trick? Is that why when I was going wrong, I didn't have a Trilby?
Well, you know what? I think me hatred of the Kooks, but then thinking, oh, I look good in this, and I'm going to an all-girls school. I kind of thought, stick the hat on and totally sell out my whole hatred of the Kooks and their Trilbies.
Yeah.
It was little that.
I did the job, though. Did the job.
It certainly did.
The gig itself, then, can't remember who was organising it or what it was a charity for, but it was literally in the school, wasn't it? And the Aeroplanes were the big draw, and apparently they were. I don't really remember them, but they were a big name, and I still hear the name now. And they were like the headliners, but they were a bit older than us. Do you remember the Aeroplanes?
Are they the ones that like Noel Gallagher took under his wing a little bit, like give them like a few support slots or something? Or am I don't know whether I'm making that up, but they definitely had like singles out, didn't they, in like Japan and all that. So like
yeah, they were a proper band, weren't they?
The other week, and they had one of their EPs in there in like the local artist section. I think we played with them in the girls' school.
In the girls' school, yeah.
Yeah, but they had records out.
Yeah.
So
there was
something right.
Yeah, so there was them. There was Cup, who I think we spoke about before. That we were mates with. I think we even jumped a taxi down with them. I can't remember who else was on or anything. I think we did our usual: get in there, ignore everyone else, and go and drink our own ale.
Yeah.
I just remember like when I think because like you say there, I think we got a cab with a few members of Cup, and there's a Sainsbury's round St. Julie's, but. That was like just being in a different world, going down Walton when you're like from the Swan, and we ended up in this Sainsbury's, and I think we got a few cans and all that, and like a bottle of JD or something. And Rich, their drummer, he's about 6'6", big full beard, about 5 years older than all of us. And we're all standing at the till, and he got ID'd, and he had nothing on him, so we had to put it all back on the shelf. But he was easily in his 20s at that time, so like we were just waiting around his school, all sober, and oh god, yeah, tonight's gonna be a laugh.
we
I
have
don't
no.
remember the gig.
Do you know? I was going to say we didn't have any connection with the school, so I can't remember who got us the gig or anything like that. But we obliged, and I think there was a part of us thinking, well, so and so's on there, and so's on there. It'd be good for us to go and make inroads into that world and find out how did you get that EP recorded, or how did you get that gig, and so and so. So we were probably on the hunt for, like, as I say in the narrative, we connections and all that. It was very anti us, but I think there was an element of, well, we can't just keep playing in like the CI and to nobody but Steve's dad. So I think that's why we took it. And all girls school probably appealed to us as well at that time.
That's what like the Beatles would have done.
Yeah, I remember everything apart from us playing.
It was full of like schoolgirls though. That's what, like, there wasn't like a normal crowd at all, was it? It was just schoolgirls, but not in the uniform or anything like everything that we're saying here just sounds dead seedy, you know.
It does, doesn't it? It does. And we want to stress that at this point, you two still were in school as well. Like, it's not as if we our age now going to play an all girls school, getting excited about it. They were our age. Like, that's what we must stress.
And tell me, we should have been called the nonces.
The longer this podcast goes on, the less we're helping ourselves with accusations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, but there was a group like
I remember it went all right though.
Yeah, I mean, I probably snapped a string. That's the way things seem to go in our gigs. I probably snapped a string or something. But there was a group of girls. I think they were like friends of friends of friends, and I think they took a shine into your Trilby or something. But I as I said in the narrative, I was utterly hopeless with girls, which will come as a shock to nobody. I think I probably fell in love about 3 times that night alone. But you, Steve, you made real progress. You actually get his phone number.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, because all I was talking about at that time was the Lars and how everyone else was shite. So I must have got like sidetracked on something. But maybe it was the Trilby, that had just been pulled off the dead man's fucking head or something. But yeah, I remember like there was a group, and they were kind of like into us. I think we did all right, and that impressed them, like the music ability. Given that we turned up with no stuff apart from like a couple of guitars, we used everyone else's gear. I think I managed to bullshit quite a bit. I was full of shit anyway. I was already a rock star in my head,
Well, that's it. Yeah, you walk the walk before you can do anything else. But do you remember? Do you remember forgetting a name?
See, do you know what? I kept this up into my 20s as well. I remember talking to her, and she's like, and I had like one of those big like Sony Ericsson phones that like gave off more radiation than like Chernobyl, and I was putting a number in, and my mind went blank, because all I've been doing is chatting shy for like an hour. So then I thought I'm just gonna have a stab in the dark at the first letter of a name. I just pressed K, open for best, and she went, "Why are you putting K in?" And I said, "Oh, I have this way of remembering numbers. It's like an alphabet form. So like Matty's C, and like Robbie's D. So it's just like in order." And that seems weird. But she believed it, so I don't know what the hell was going on. Maybe she was buried or something, but yeah, probably like listening to me go on. But yeah, I remember years later. Remember when we were on that march in London, and we were doing that.
Okay.
I was kind of the head guy on the bus going down to London, and I lost the guy at the petrol station. But I had his number down as like, I don't know if we can say it on here really, but was it an alphabet, or was I still doing the alphabet thing?
No, for him. You saved him in your phone as some bus cunt.
Ah. He's probably
I
still
love,
in Birmingham now. Isn't
yes. Still at the services, waiting by the freezies. But I just love that because I remember that happening. I remember seeing you giving a number or getting a number, thinking, "Fucking hell, he's getting a number," and then this just local confusion. Why have you saved it as K? And your explanation was that quick. I was like, "It's genius." Oh, I've got a system as opposed to I've got a working phone where I can just type your name in. You don't need a system. You've got a working phone.
Yeah.
It's just the first letter.
I- I've got a feeling he backed me up, you know.
I think we jumped in. Oh, it's his system. It's what he does. Yeah.
I just
Just
remember like a
imagine though, if I
couple.
got it right and the name was K.
Yeah, that would have been impressive.
I just remember when I spoke to when I seen you like turn around with the phone in your hand. I was like, "How'd you get their number? Yeah, what's the name?" And you just went, "I haven't got a fucking clue." You just fucking clue.
But once we did find out
Nah,
the
well,
name, around this time, we had a habit of turning everything into like chants, didn't we? Everything, like, remember there was a newsagent in the Swan called Mr. B's, and after a few drinks, we'd be pounding the table, Mr. B, sells the Echo for 30p, Mr. B. We just had this boorish habit of doing that, and then we eventually found out her
yeah.
name,
And we
which
wonder why
was
girls didn't speak to us.
yeah, no, I know. So naturally, we did this, and you rectified the situation. I can't remember how you found out her name, but you came back and said, "Oh, my name's Hannah. I've got it sorted. It's Hannah." And instantly, Hannah, the spanner.
I think it was Bob. Oh yeah.
Probably was, yeah, yeah. But you remember just bursting straight into Hannah, the spanner. Upon a banner is where I found their name. And it got louder and louder. The spanner upon a banner.
I remember being very pissed off. Like,
Yeah, it'll do that.
yeah. The romance didn't last anyway. We went to see Harry Potter. I hadn't read the books. I didn't know what was going on. It was like the third film, or the second one. I was like, who are all these fucking private educated little bastards flying around causing trouble?
The gig was, as most were in our early days, eventful, but not necessarily due to our music. We'd gone down with a number of pals and no doubt a solid stash of Viborg pills from Groovy Gary's. But unlike our previous gig in the CI, which was attached to a school, this was literally in a school, and as such, band sets were on in different classrooms. So this meant there was no backstage area as such, and gear was just strewn across the place. At some point during the evening, a gang of local hard knocks and scallies had turned up, clearly not in the mood for jingle jangle, no matter how rootsy it promised to be. Rather, they were clearly keen on causing trouble and nicking gear. Now, I'm a coward at the best of times. Although I can talk my way out of jams, when it comes to confrontation, I'm not seen for dust. My curly, near shoulder length hair made me a prime candidate for getting a pasting in situations such as this. Therefore, my waters were telling me to get ready for aggro and plan an exit. We needn't have worried, and really, I should have known better. The gang walked over to our camp, and as I was readying myself, an opening gambit from this lot soothed us all. "Fucking hell, is that Bob? All right, lad." Of course Bob knew them. One of the many benefits of having people like Bob on our team meant that as a bunch of daft lads, we had immunity by proxy from armies such as these. In conversation, these lads did confirm that they were on the lookout for gear to rob, but thanks to Bob's presence, we were safe, and they decided to therefore call the whole operation off and instead stick around for some ghastly Derby Lane ale. More drama was to come, though. Come the end of the night, we decided to jump a taxi back to the Albany, but in my sodden state, I couldn't find my guitar. Our taxis had been ordered, and I was getting more frantic searching for it. Someone, I can't remember who, suggested it had been lifted, and pandemonium spread throughout the group. "Someone's nicked Matty's guitar!" This was a declaration of war. Coats and bags were turned upside down, either in search of the guitar or for confirmation it was gone. Some of our extended group were more incensed than I was. I was simply gutted. They, however, wanted blood. Someone, again I can't remember who, suggested we adopt an Old Testament approach, an eye for an eye, or more accurately, a broken cheap guitar for a very expensive guitar. My guitar was a vintage SG, which meant it was a replica imitation of a Gibson SG, a guitar which would have easily set us back somewhere in the region of £2,000. By coincidence, there was an actual SG knocking about amidst the classrooms, and I had to do some very strong persuading to stop this becoming my new guitar. I'm sure you can guess where this story leads. My guitar turns up exactly where I'd left it, under my coat. Relief was the name of the game for me, and we jumped into our taxis and headed to the Albany. Things weren't quite over, however. Once we got there, it was clear that someone in this extended group of ours wasn't happy with such a happy resolution as the one we'd reached. They'd wanted a trophy. None of us knew whose it was or how they'd got it, but somehow the biggest catch of the night had been a blind man's cane, which was brandished and proudly held aloft. Having had enough excitement for one night, I didn't ask any questions, and I soon exited stage left.
I was saying, like, do you remember at the end of the gig, Steve? Like, you fucking hated the Police and Sting, and because it was just like a high school gig, like the minute we played our last note, like ring, like the DJ put "Don't Stand So Close to Me" on, and you just stood up and went, "What the fuck is this?" and just started like twatting your snare, dun, 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 like fucking ridiculously loud, and then we walked off. What a successful gig.
I feel like more people would agree with me now. As time's gone. Fuck Sting and the Police. Fucking yoga.
That's what NWA song's about, really. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was our eventful gig. I said earlier, I'm sure I snapped the string. There was something that went wrong because they all and probably had to borrow another guitar. It was just a thing we did. I don't know what there was something about me playing or what, but I was always snapping strings. But we were again, as I said in the narrative, it was literally in a classroom, wasn't it? There was no stage as such. It was like push the desks to the side, and the band just play in the middle.
The thing is, like when the Beatles did all them gigs and all the screaming schoolgirls and all that, we didn't quite have the same experience, did we? Really, because we could hear every note that we were playing, unfortunately. But hey ho.
Don't know, I might still have Kay's number.
You wouldn't know, mate, in your system.
Hey,
Saved as anything. Could be saved as anything. Yeah.
I could call Kay and it'll be that guy at the bus station. Station. Yeah.
So the drama around the guitars and everything with the Scallies turning up and all that, that was not what we expected playing a charity gig in an all girls school. But it escalated really quite quickly, didn't it?
Like, it was wild because like the backstage area was like the maths class or geography or something.
Yeah.
So while the other bands were playing and we're obviously wanting to get off, it's like, oh, let's get all our gear then because the cab's coming. And obviously, like, just sent into a blind panic because we haven't got that much gear anyway. And for someone to rob like 30% of it, you're deviled, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with all the different stages or whatever you want to call it being different classrooms, there was no like backstage area, so I was in a blind panic. I probably looked in like the same place 3 times and didn't look in the other classroom another time, and I was just convinced it's gone. And then someone raised the possibility, or someone's had off with that, and pretty looking guitar like that, Matty, that's not going to stick around unsupervised. It was a steaming pile of shite, but then it was like, oh, do you think it's gone? It's gone. Oh, fucking hell, someone stole Matty's guitar. I was like, oh, God almighty, chaos.
If anyone robbed our gear, they would have brought it back. You would have went to cash converters and would have been, we won't even buy this shit, mate. Is that a spanner to tune the guitar?
That's a good
why
point.
strings.
That's a good point. Lift the guitar. You need the accompanying spanner. Yeah, and no one's going to lift any bin bags.
Yeah, I do remember absolutely shit me kecks though when all those lads walked in. I was thinking, all right, I've got this trilby on my head here.
Would have thought you were the teacher.
Don't know what I was more panicked about, being in a maths class or get my head kicked in.
Because we were daft lads. But we were rather naive when you look back, and then a group of actual scallies turn up. It was knees knocking time. It's going to kick off here, and they're going to want to show off in front of the girls, and we're going to have to look like dickheads in front of the girls as well. Steve's only just got Kay's number. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well.
Yeah, that phone's going.
What's that?
Then my phone will be the first thing nicked, but then chucked back at me. It was one of those Motorola's size of a fucking house brick.
And then, of course, Bob knew
But
them. Just,
yeah,
of course. I don't know why we would ever worry. It's like, if there's any aggro and Bob's with us, we're going to be all right. It just didn't cross my mind. I was like, oh, yeah, sound, Bob's here.
We're all mates
he, he
now.
was the, he was the only
Yeah,
one
yeah.
sitting there that wasn't worried in his shorts.
It was just that utter relief of, oh, all right, is that Bob? Oh, fucking hell, Bob, all right, lads. Oh, thank God for that. We're all right. We're all right. I don't have
Like,
to
what
hide
are you
me.
doing here?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with these
yeah.
knobheads.
And I remember the Scallies, they weren't like, once they realised that Bob was with us, they didn't hold back and they were very much like, oh, yeah, well, we were going to come down and nick a load of equipment, but we won't now because, Bob's here and he's sound. And yeah, they didn't hide
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we were going to cause aggro and nick stuff. You know?
Do you want to join
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
Do you want to come back to Albany?
Well, that's what ended up happening, wasn't it? And as I say,
Well,
when I
yeah,
found
true.
my guitar, it was just there all along. There was no drama when we got back to Albany, and I don't know, because I don't know, I can't remember who the lads were, or I don't think we ever saw them again. But um, they really wanted to nick something, and I think they saw the guitar fiasco as an opportunity to nick something. But disguise it as like the right thing to do. Someone nicks your guitar, well, we'll nick one for you. I was like, no, you're really all right. Please don't. I think they got the taste, hadn't they, for it? And then we were back in the Albany and somebody just brandishes, hey, at least I got this though, fucking hell, lads. And they just snapped out a blind man's walking stick. Oh my God.
It was the reveal
Oh,
because it was like one of them telescopic ones. It looked like he just pulled like a ciggy out, and then with a
Yes,
flick of the wrist, it fucking extends 4.5 foot, nearly took someone's eye out. Oh, fucking the irony, by the way. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
blind man's.
I think that image of when that lad pulled that cane out and yeah, it did like flick, didn't it? And
Yeah.
all connect up. Look what I got. And I was like, you nicked the blind man's cane. And wait, why was I never saw a blind man walking around like with a cane at that gig? That I feel like I would have noticed.
Just a cool
Like,
fella in the corner with their glasses on indoors.
there was a
Yeah.
few people deaf after the gig, but
Yeah. People wish they were deaf, yeah. But I just thought, I'm not going to ask. You're clearly unhinged. I'm not. I'm just not going to ask. I'm going to finish up my Guinness
yeah.
and I'm going home. I just want to put this night to bed. Okay, now.
Uh, yeah, that's it. Where's my cane? I know I'm with a nicked it. We'll find it. It'll be under those coats.
Although I do remember, like, I wasn't impressed by it, and I think I said at one point, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." And like, the first response back was, "Oh, we'll have another one." That's your response.
Gotta find it
You
first, though,
have
Annie.
another- Exactly.
Oh,
Hmm. Oh,
oh,
moody man, but it's moments like that you're glad you've got someone like Bob on your team, or there's another mate of ours who we'll probably talk about another time. For that, you're just glad you've got people like that, because we'd have been toast. We'd have been absolutely useless. We'd have been like wet
yeah,
paper bags. We'd have been in all sorts of danger. But just having someone like that, even if they don't know Bob, they know Bob's that type of Bob's sound. I won't mess with these lads because that Bob's all right. It's just such a, oh, thank God for that. I think every squad needs someone like that in them. You couldn't have a squad full of people like that because you'd all be lunatics. But you need someone like that, don't you?
The
yeah.
skinhead
The
in
Beatles had Mel
shorts.
Evans.
Matt Evans.
Yeah, we had Bob. We saying his real name, and he was a scaffolder, and he always had
Thank
loads of
God for
money.
that. Thank God for Bob. I don't think it was me, but one of us made contact with the recording studio before long. And before we knew it, we had a date. Friday, the 30th of November, in Cassette Studios on Victoria Street. We knew we had to record So Long Too Long. That much was a given. It was our pension plan as far as we were concerned. And we had agreed to do a second song to get our money's worth out of the day. We settled on Face in the Crowd for some reason. It was likely the one we thought we could get away with best, considering we didn't have a bassist more than anything. I had a lecture in uni that Friday morning and vividly recall zoning out of academia and daydreaming about how this was the key to the door. Before long, as prophesied by the dreadful lyrics to face in the crowd, our name would be up in lights, our songs would be sang by the masses, and it was a matter of time before we were heralded as national, if not international treasures. The lecture ended and I couldn't get out of the theatre fast enough. We had booked the studio from lunchtime till evening, so I met Rowie, Steve, and, naturally, Bob, in town and we marched over. I don't recall having a guitar with me, and Steve certainly didn't have his bin bags of cymbals and bits, so I'm assuming we assumed we could use the studios. We located the venue and climbed several flights of stairs until we reached the attic of an old dilapidated building. So eager were we that we ended up getting there about half an hour early, and short of any ideas, just hung about in the doorway. After a short while, we heard the clanging of boots on stone, and a schoolboy in uniform also ascended the stairs. Now, we were at the very top of the building, so there was nowhere else to go other than a door that was next to where we had agreed to meet. The schoolboy rang a bell, and after a short wait, an old man opened the door, silently letting him in, without acknowledging us before closing it again. Now, there's always a danger that hindsight and the dust of time's passing clouds my memory, but the more I recall this incident, the darker the room the boy entered gets, the older the man gets, and the creepier it becomes. There's every chance the whole scenario was innocent, but it all just felt very odd. Anyway, before long, our producer, the man who held the key to our fame and fortune, climbed the stairs and introduced himself. A rakishly thin man carrying heaps of equipment greeted us and introduced himself as Linus Jackson, a name befitting of Frank Button's company, surely. Linus was in a band called Snap Ant, who, like most of our company we seemed to be keeping at that time, existed in a very different world to ours. Snap Ant were, if I remember rightly, synth-based and played jarring and what seemed to us then as experimental music. Not rootsy at all. This was exemplified later in the day when, once set up, Steve was talking to Linus about drum sounds he wanted. "Have you heard the unreleased version of Timeless Melody by the Lars?" Steve asked. Linus let out a half laugh. He hadn't. In fact, I'd be surprised if he'd heard the released version. But before all that, there were introductions to be made. Keen to get off to a good start, Linus stated his name and asked our individual names, shaking our hand as we went round, proclaiming each one, huddled in the doorway on top of a narrow staircase. "I'm Matty, nice to meet you." Handshake. "Rowie, alright la?" Handshake. "Frank Button, yeah, Button." Handshake. Then it came to Bob. Linus outstretched his hand, and Bob, in short naturally, scanned Linus up and down and looked at his extended hand as if he were brandishing a pile of steaming turd. Bob kept his hands in his pockets and simply shook his head. An awkward silence hung in the air. "Right, let's get in then." Linus broke the mood and on we went in. "Oh yeah, that's Bob," I offered. Anyway, next step, top of the poppermost. So it was a big deal getting a proper recording session, wasn't it?
Well, it's what like all normal bands do, innit? Like the next thing to do is record, innit? But
Yeah.
What I found weird about it was we started the recording studio. We weren't actually a proper band. We still didn't have a bassist,
No.
did we?
No,
And we didn't have
no.
a clue what we were doing. And we didn't have any
No.
proper equipment.
Nope.
Like I said, before you were still tuning your guitar with a spanner. Our practice room was the loft.
Your bedroom, yeah.
Drinking hub. So,
No, it was.
but no, I think we were ready.
I mean, we were in no way ready. I remember being in the lecture in the morning, thinking about the song and thinking like the middle eight in So Long Too Long, and I was thinking, oh, should I add a guitar line to it? I mean, there and then, without a guitar in my hand, is not the time, to be thinking about adding guitar lines when I'm going in the studio in like within the hour. We were in no way ready. Can't remember who got in touch with Linus or anything like that, and we weren't aware of Snap Ant until that point which was the band Linus was in, the producer.
I wouldn't have had a clue. And like you say, I wouldn't even know how we would have got the details, because it would have been like, Twitter or Facebook, or it would have just been like, I know a guy type thing.
Yeah. I think it was from someone at the St. Julie's gig. I think it might have been Cup or someone. I think that's why we were like pestering people, because we had no connection at all with anyone beyond Groovy Gary. So we were just the first producer, we were like, yeah, we'll do it. Even, he's a synthesizer, experimental music, not asked, can he record us? We'll take it. And the building, I think, is it the Dixie Dean Hotel now? Or was it the one behind it? But it's that end of town, isn't it?
I think it's the one behind it on Victoria Street. That's what I remember. It's like opposite the Lifestyles. Yeah, so that hotel's the Lifestyles in it. Yeah, so over the road on Victoria Street. But it was
about old buildings.
Yeah, it was like 5-6 floors, no lift, spiral staircase all the way up. Oh, I was murder. Thankfully, we had no gear, hardly any gear to carry up. Shattered by the top of it anyway.
What I want to know is, why was Bob with us? What was he adding?
It was just part of it's what we did, wasn't it? Just absolutely what we did. But he'd turn up a prac, he's okay, because he'd buy the ale and sit and just silently nod. He had no role in this whatsoever, but we knew he had to be there with us. He absolutely had to be.
You knew more than us, probably. I didn't have a fucking clue. I genuinely thought that, like, I'd only have to play one chord and it'd get repeated. I genuinely thought that.
I remember you saying that. I remember you saying, well, we said half an hour. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, there's 4 chords, so I just strum the 4 chords and they just copy and paste it. I was like, is that how they do it? Like, well, I don't know. Well, all right. Well, sound if it is, sound.
Linus would have been into that idea with all his synths and all that.
Yeah, it would have been me. But we got to the top of that.
Like, Melody was missing.
Synths. Yeah. We got to the top of this like dark, dusty building with a spiral staircase, and we were early because I think we were that keen. And we were like, "Is this the right place? Is this the right place?" And then that incident with the schoolboy. Now I know I've said in the narrative there's a danger we overthink it because it's like 18 years, but even at the time that was moody, wasn't it?
That's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. Like, it was fucking weird. Like you say, it's them footsteps coming up the stairs, dun, 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 dun. And like the kid, like the young schoolboy, was keen to get up the stairs, and it was just frightening because then he's not expecting 4 lads to be at the top of the stairs, and like you say, it was a tight landing, weren't it? And he weren't going to record anything, and he just knocks on this door, and this fella, he only had his bills on, didn't he?
Right. This is what I was going to ask, because I've got in my head he had like a gown or something, but there was something in his appearance that caught our attention anyway. It wasn't as if he turns up and he had, a 3-piece suit on or anything like that. There was something, I thought, like a dressing gown, but it might have been his bills, but there was something odd about it.
If he had a dressing gown on, it was fucking open. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah.
It was fucking seedy as. I just remember, like, because he just stared at us and just pointed at the other door, didn't he? Like, pointed to, and it like didn't say a word. Like the boy, the young boy, just like scuttled in, and I remember like looking past this fella, and it was just one bicycle wheel spinning.
Oh God!
I don't know what was happening.
Oh God! And we knew at the time it was something was weird and creepy, but there was just a period where we all kind of looked at each other as if like, did you see that? Neither the schoolboy or the old man said anything to us. But yeah, I forgot about the old man just pointed at the door that we were meant to be in, as in like, you're in there, not here.
No one said anything, but like, it was like everyone knew what was happening.
Yeah, we should have asked if he played bass.
Man, we just like stupefied in silence, a bit like, is Grandad? Is that what's going on? I mean, now as like a proper adult, I'd be asking more questions and I'd be checking things were all right. But at that time, we were just so like, the fuck. It was like seeing a ghost, wasn't it? In the sense that you'd all go, nobody else saw that. Surely that can't just have happened. It felt like almost supernatural.
I was bizarre. I'm surprised that he didn't put any money under our door to say, "I'll pay for this. Just fucking keep quiet, all right."
Oh man, that's a great start for a recording session, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And Bob refusing to shake his hand after we all shook Linus's hand.
That was
And
hysterical, man. That was
that just set the tone for the day. That
well, that's the thing. Bob wasn't even trying to be funny with that, was he? It was Linus
No.
was a very nice bloke. Clearly not of our world, you know. Clearly moved in different circles, but a very, very nice bloke. Very keen to be like, oh, he wasn't Scouse, was he? Or
no, he just like seemed like he was quite a tall, skinny, like you
Yeah.
know, looked like he hadn't slept. Maybe
Yeah.
far too
Yeah.
too many drugs the night before, but
Yeah.
he seemed nice enough. And then when Bob refused to shake his hand, I thought he doesn't want us around all day, does he?
But Bob wasn't even trying to do it to be funny or make anyone laugh. It
No.
was just, and it just had to be Bob last. It'd be different maybe if Bob was first or in the middle, but it just had to be that way, didn't it? You know, shake my hand, all right, nice one. Rowie, nice one. Thank button, yeah, nice one. And to shake Bob's hand, and Bob just looked him up and down as if to say, "You piece of shit," and Bob just shook his head like the old man didn't say anything. Right,
He didn't even
okay, well, do you
explain
want to come in? What's that?
He didn't even explain himself. Like, didn't say, "Oh, I'm not shaking his hand. He looks like a fucking nonce or something." But he was just really aggressive from like the start.
just refused to shake his hand, and then we feel we've got to explain. Oh, it's all right. That's Bob.
Yeah. And then he said,
Was he your bassist?
"Who's the drummer?"
No.
Yeah. Who's the drummer? Who's the guitarist? Is he the bassist? No, he just pays for our ale and stops us from getting beaten up.
Oh, you're Mal Evans? Yeah, Mal Evans. Yeah, come in. I mean, what a way to start it. What a way to start it. Oh, man.
So Long Too Long is a podcast written by me, Matty Lackland-Day, also starring Liam Rowlands and Steve Buckley. For more information, search So Long Too Long podcast on all socials or email us at solongtoolongpod@gmail.com. So Long Too Long is part of the Club Shipwreck network. For more information, go to www.patreon.com/clubshipwrecked. Thanks to John Gibbons and the Anfield Rap for loan of the studio.
I like playing in the dark, man.